Understanding the bounce on your sand wedge and using the bounce correctly on your sand wedge is hopefully one of the big differences between your bunker game now and the bunker game you want to have. If you can use the bounce correctly, you'll be able to get the club to slide under the ball a little bit more efficiently, get a little bit more spin on the ball and get the ball out of the bunker every time and going close to the pin. Now, to understand bounce, we first need to understand the terminology. The bounce is the concept that, particularly in your sand wedge, most of your wedges included as well, but particularly your sand wedge, the leading edge of the golf club will be higher than the trailing edge. There's a backwards leaning angle here. If the shaft is vertical, there's a backwards leaning angle here. Now, to check this, just put your club on a tabletop with the shaft vertical, and the leading edge of the golf club should be off the tabletop. It should be balanced on the trailing edge. And the measurement of that is going to be the number of degrees of bounce. Some wedges will even have it stamped on the club, or you'll be able to check online with the manufacturer about how much bounce there should be. Depending on different types of bunkers, we can increase and decrease bounce, but that's a little bit off topic for today. The amount of bounce that you play is going to determine how the club interacts with the sand. Let me just show you this example from side on. If I play my standard sand wedge and add a little bit of extra loft, which is good for a bunker shot, it also increases the bounce angle. Again, imagine it's on a tabletop, this leading edge is now way in the air. If I then make a standard bunker shot swing, the club will hit the turf, or hit the sand should I say, and immediately bounce back out. It bounces off that trail edge, kicks in and kicks out, just like I want my bunker shots to do. However, if I set up to the bunker shot this time, but I de-bounce the club, so I'm actually going to play the club back in my stance slightly and have the shaft leaning forwards. Now, let's say my club's got 14 degrees of bounce and I have my shaft leaning forwards by 14 or more degrees. There's now zero bounce. There's now none of that trail edge being low. And now I make my swing and the club just goes down into the ground. Now, actually, I've hit a little bit of a hard spot there and the club has kicked back out again. Let's find a little softer bit of ground here. The club goes down, there we go, and it goes really deep. And both of those shots would have been horrible for me to play. This first one tried to go too deep, hit something quite rocky, you can actually hear it there, and it kicked straight back out. This one in the softer ground just went down and pretty much stayed down, almost submarine down into the ground. Now, in those two situations, very, very inconsistent golf shots, not working well at all, certainly compared to the first one where the bounce was being utilised properly. So, next time you're setting up in a bunker, I want you to really understand and get to grips with the concept of bounce. Add some loft to create more bounce. Use your sand wedge because it's got the most bounce. Use the club being bounced off the sand like that to kick underneath the golf ball, softly caressing the ball out and landing it nicely on the green.